So kia ora, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our second webinar. Today's webinar is called, dun, 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 dun. There we go, Fixing Your Marketing Mix. So what we're going to be talking about today is all about digital marketing for your tourism business and how hopefully after this webinar you've got some really actionable key things that you can do to improve your bookings for this next season. So what I would like to do is start off today by welcoming our guest speaker, who is Regan Northwood. Welcome, Regan.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you, everybody, for being here today.
Yeah, so the reason why we've chosen Regan to be our speaker today is because she has vast knowledge and has worked internationally in marketing. Regan's been with Tomahawk since July 2022. And Regan, you started off first as the digital performance manager, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so digital marketing, when you work in an agency, that team is called the digital performance team. So you were the manager of that, and then you did life's great work and went off and created a beautiful baby boy, Louis, and was off on mat leave, and now you've returned with the amazing role as the operation manager. So you come to us with vast knowledge. And it's not just what you learned, obviously, at Tomahawk, because you were marketing manager for many other companies prior. In fact, you were in London for a couple of years doing marketing roles there too, didn't you?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, that was me taking up lots of time because I could see lots of people were joining. So let's go ahead and kick off with today's webinar. Now, before we get started, we're going to ask everybody if you'd like the best experience of this webinar. If you go to the top of your screen in Teams, you'll see a tab that says View. When you click on View, if you then click on Speaker, and it's not because we want all of your eyes on us, it just might allow you to engage with Regan and hear what she's saying. If you enjoy the gallery view with everybody's icons and pictures there, by all means, keep it on gallery view. But for those who want the best experience view, click speaker view. So great, let's kick off. What we're going to be covering today in the next 30 minutes is how customers are currently finding you, where they're currently finding you, and then what you can do to get more of those customers. And we've kept it really simple and focused for this webinar so you can get as much out of it as possible. Now we have some of our T-Hawk team that are also joining. So they're going to be watching if you have any questions. So by all means, use that chat because then you guys are going to get the value out of this that you want and that you need. So ask any questions you want. They'll answer them or they'll throw them to us in the question and answer. What's really different about our webinar series this year is we wanted to make sure that they were actionable, that you guys didn't come to this webinar, listen and go, oh, those are great ideas, I should be doing that. But then don't have anything that you can have in front of you as a cheat sheet, as a worksheet, as a checklist, something for you to then work with. And today's takeaways, you get two. So you're going to get a checklist for your marketing mix, and you're getting a bonus that's not even listed here because we thought it was a good idea. And we're going to share with you guys the 5 most frequently asked questions that we get from customers about digital marketing. We're not going to just share the questions, we're actually going to share the answers too. So we'll be covering that off when we send you the wrap up from this. So let's get started. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment, and I'm going to say, Regan, number 1 question for our customers, how are these travelers finding their businesses to book them?
Thanks, Gina. Yeah, as said, there's a lot to cover today and in the realm of digital marketing. So hopefully you take away some really actionable, handy tips today, starting with a deeper understanding of where your customers come from, how they find you online. So to start with, often they do find you online, and that's one of the reasons digital marketing is so important. So most of your customers will be coming to you through online searches, particularly through Google, as they have 96% of the search engine market share. So there
Mm,
are other search engines and they shouldn't be neglected, but Google is the biggest one worldwide. Often when users are searching in Google search or other search engines, your website will appear or other materials online, such as listings on online travel agents. So those are
mm,
things like booking.com, Airbnb, or if you're in the experiences industry, Get Your Guide. Those
mm,
are the types of OTAs where your businesses are listed
mm,
and they appear in search results as well. So
mm.
you want to make sure that you're there, and I'm sure you all are. The other way that your customers can find you is through social media. And so this is natively when using social media, just going about their day to day, as we all do, scrolling on various social media platforms, but also through searching. So
Mhm.
social media results appear in search results as well. So if your users are looking for tourism, travel, accommodation, experiences related to your business, and you have posted those on social media, they can also appear in search results, leading them to your website or to your business.
Beautiful. So I know that this might sound like we're talking about basics here. We're like, you need, they're finding you on Google, they're finding you on OTAs, they're finding you on social. But maybe people didn't know prior that people really use social media as a search engine now, which is just a change in behavior, right? Yeah. Okay. So now let's look at exactly where they're finding, right? So where do customers find you?
Yeah, so the big one is Google, and that leads into all of the other places on the internet, which is it's a world wide web. It's a very big place out there, and it hosts so many websites, so much information, and you can have a presence across many of those platforms. So
Mm,
again, your OTAs like Booking.com, Expedia, Airbnb, and then there are things like blogs. So if there's a travel blogger who's been to your accommodation or experienced what you have to offer. They may have written something about you, tagged you in it, or used keywords related to your business. So that can be a way that your customers find you. There are other avenues such as TripAdvisor or Google Business Profile, which we're going to talk about in greater detail shortly. And
mm.
then there's also tourism boards like here in New Zealand, Tourism New Zealand.
Yeah. So one of the things that we often talk about is that tourism, listing your business on Tourism New Zealand, A, is free. B, Tourism New Zealand is what's called a number one authority with Google. So the Tourism New Zealand, those words are your business, right? New Zealand and tourism. So it is a number one authority. And people don't keep up their listings, a lot of people, because on Tourism New Zealand, you can list your business, you can list a deal, and Tourism New Zealand, has a deals page, and they also promote those. If you have gift vouchers, that's really great. That's kind of like a really great tick in Tourism New Zealand's mind because that helps people buy New Zealand tourism presence. It also helps your cash flow. And obviously, if you're Qualmark ranked, you get a higher listing on the site. So everybody, if you haven't got a listing on Tourism New Zealand, do it. Or if you haven't recently checked your listing, go on, review it, add some more photos. If you've got a deal or a package, if you offer gift vouchers, by all means, update it because yeah, it's important to everybody's business. Sorry, I interrupted you with that monologue, Regan.
No, that's really important to know.
Mm, mm. So tell me this. Um, People in general know, okay, I know I should be paying attention to Google and I should be doing something on social media. And I'm on booking.com and I'm on Tourism New Zealand, but they don't know where the bookings are coming from. It's kind of like not knowing where your income is coming from, right? It's important to know. So how do people know what's happening?
Yeah, great question. Well, dream scenario, we'd all have multiple streams of revenue coming into us, right? And in many of your cases, you do have multiple streams of traffic and sales coming into your businesses through avenues outside of the internet as well. But we're specifically thinking now about digital
Yeah.
platforms. So you should all have access to Google Analytics. Google Analytics should be the single source of truth for you. So when you
Mm-hmm.
log in there, you can think of it as like a bookings bank account. You can check where your bookings are coming from, what the value of those bookings are, the number of bookings, and then you can dig even deeper. It is an incredibly powerful tool, and we're not going to go into that in detail now, but there are two key areas that you can look at, those being traffic and conversions. So traffic is where users are coming from, how they get to your site. So it could be traffic from booking.com, it could be traffic from Tourism New Zealand, from
Mm-hmm.
blogs, or from social media campaigns or organic social media. There's a lot of different sources and ways that users can discover your website. The other part is conversion. So those are bookings made on your website. And obviously that's really important to us, and conversions and revenue are a really big part of what we do here, why we're marketing. So they're both important. It's important to understand how users find their way to your website, how they behave on your website, and what actions they take before converting.
Yeah. So important. Thank you. We always say, find out, go where the fish are fish where the fish are fishing. What? Fish where the fish are. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you're looking at your Google Analytics, you can either see what channels are working for you or maybe where there's opportunities, right? So you're like, I didn't even know that I was getting traffic from there. Maybe I should be doing more on social media or so yeah, it is the bank account for your business. Yeah. What are we looking at next? Oh, what everybody wants to know. Where do you find more customers?
Yeah, or how can more customers find you? Because they're going to be coming to you through the power of digital marketing. There are so many things to discuss on this topic, and there's truly a plethora of options. So I'm going to briefly discuss a few of the icons you can see on your screen. One really important one is Google Business Profile. There's also Pinterest, which is a really big platform in the United States and Canada and some other areas. This is used by users who want to plan extravagant holidays, like their honeymoon.
Hmm.
So there's quite a big market there for people who are planning holidays and therefore ready to buy in market.
Yeah,
There's
it's a really overlooked, it's an overlooked social media platform, isn't it? It's so effective for tourism, and we've got so many customers getting great results. And I guess it all really comes down to is who's your audience? Who do you want to market to, right? So if you're trying to get Americans who are planning a trip of a lifetime or honeymoon, Americans all use Pinterest for planning their honeymoon. Then yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but it's just so overlooked. I wanted to highlight that.
Absolutely, and it's also a visual platform. So if you've got
Yeah,
a beautiful accommodation or an incredible once-in-a-lifetime experience to showcase,
yeah,
then using a platform like Pinterest is great.
yeah.
And as Gina said, it really depends on who you're trying to target with your marketing and where you should therefore invest your time, which is our most valuable resource. So down the bottom, you can see the green icon, which is WeChat. It's an incredibly popular app used particularly in China, but all over Asia. There are a significant number of users, and it's where they get all of their information, news, and marketing from. So if you do have a Chinese or Asian market that you want to target, that's something to explore. There's also TikTok. So if you're youth skewed, or you're a backpackers or budget accommodation or some type of transport business that might target young people or people traveling on a budget, TikTok can be a really great place to look, even if you're just looking at what other businesses are doing, how they're showcasing their businesses, and what users are doing on platforms like TikTok.
And TikTok, if people choose to do ads, correct me if I'm wrong, but ad costs, if you're going to do a promotion on TikTok as opposed to Facebook or Instagram, TikTok is a little less expensive but effective for the right audience. Is that correct?
It can depend on what your goals are. So
Okay.
a lot of it is around impressions, and TikTok's really great at serving its content to users. So yeah, that can be a very cost-effective way to get in front of your audience.
Nice.
And then down the far side, we've got a few search engines. So as mentioned, most of the world use Google. Bing is also, he's kind of like the forgotten stepchild of the search engine world, but they do have nearly 3% of the worldwide share. So when we're talking about hundreds of millions of users, it's still a significant number of people. So it is something to consider when you're doing search-based advertising. And then we also have YouTube. And as Gina mentioned, social media is now being used as a search engine. So in particular, YouTube. People search on YouTube using keywords that they want to find more out about. So Google also offer ads that are video-based and displayed on YouTube. And I'm sure you've all seen those ads on YouTube that interrupt you at the beginning and throughout your videos.
Exactly. So YouTube, also owned by Google, is the second largest search engine in the world. So it's crazy, crazy powerful. Okay, so these are only a couple, because when you and I were prepping for this webinar, the list was far and wide. And there are many, many options, but we really didn't want to overwhelm. We just wanted to give some ideas, right? So I'm going to stop share so you and I can talk. If you were to choose just three, so people are like, okay, I'm busy. And as you said, time is our greatest. And I'm glad that you said that, because our next webinar and last webinar is on time-saving tips for tourism operators. So sorry, there's a plug for our next one. So if we already reduced for this webinar how many we would suggest, but if you were to reduce it even further, if you were to condense it, what are the three platforms, the three channels that you think that ResBook customers should be playing in on a regular basis?
Yeah, that's a great question, and we do need to protect our time and use it in ways that will give us the best return on investment. We also need to be really careful with how we're spending our marketing budget. So I've come up with my top 3 recommendations, and these are a range of both paid and free digital marketing options that we highly recommend. So if you were going to take away just a few actionable tips today, these are the top 3 that we would recommend for you to help grow your business. So to summarize, we would recommend Google Business Profile, content creation, and Google Ads. And I'm going to dig a bit deeper into each of those, because they all deserve a bit of a time on the center stage. So firstly, Google Business Profile. You might know this as Google My Business. It was formerly known as Google My Business, and I suppose it's taken a bit of like a more of a professional kind of makeover, and we're now calling it Google Business Profile. And I think that speaks to the importance of Google Business Profile as part of your marketing strategy. But ultimately, it is what happens when somebody Googles your business, or when somebody Googles a business related to your business. So This could be the first thing that a user sees when they type in the name of your business or keywords related to your business, such as accommodation in an area or activities in an area. They'll see your Google Business Profile appear on the screen to the left of the search results.
Mm.
It's almost as important as your website. In fact, they
Mm-hmm.
should both be updated, protected, and managed
Mm.
as equally important assets to your business because they really are the face of your business in the online world.
Mm.
Thankfully, Google Business Profile is super easy to use. As you'll notice with all Google products, they have huge development behind them. They're designed to be easy to use and easy to navigate, intuitive, clean to look at,
Mm.
and they're all designed in the same way. So if you've used one of the Google suite of products, you will have a really good shot at using Google Business Profile. It's really important that you keep your profile up to date. So that means things like having a contact number that is going to reach somebody's phone, clear business hours that are accurate. So you don't want to have business hours that cause people to arrive at your business expecting somebody to be there and there isn't.
And can I just say, and if you do not have your times correctly on your Google My Business, because Google My Business, even though it's your business profile, anybody can make a comment. So anybody can go on comment and say, they weren't open when I showed up, for my tour pickup. So yeah, so you want to make sure it's accurate because the world can have a say if it isn't.
Exactly. And so that leads into reviews, and
Yeah.
reviews are part of your business profile. So any user who has a good or bad experience, pretty unlikely that somebody who's had a neutral average experience is going to bother leaving you a review, unless maybe you're asking them to do so, which can also be a really good idea. But your really happy customers are going to leave you reviews, and then it gets quite granular and detailed in how powerful this tool is, because as trends emerge with the content within those reviews, Google will create subcategories of keywords such as parking or menu or
Mm,
dietaries,
mm,
which allow users to click on those and see a whole bunch of relevant reviews to what they want to find out. So by collecting reviews, encouraging your patrons to leave reviews, you're providing extra information to users who find your Google Business Profile online.
mm,
By having all of the information that a user could possibly want to see and more, we're helping them to make really quick decisions. We're aligning with their needs or not so that they can make a booking or make a decision about your business.
mm.
So it's
It does
really,
kind of replicate the website a lot. And
yeah,
and we often tell people if you're adding a blog to your website, you add it to your Google My Business, right? And the reason why Google created Google Business Profile, sorry, that's habit, is that I everything is in the same place, right? So everybody knows where to find the pictures, where to find those reviews, where to find the FAQs. And so it's 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 just making it easy for people to consume their information, but it's also making it easy for Google to know about your business. So it's the platform is just such a win-win in so many ways, isn't it?
yeah, totally. And there's a lot more to say. Jenny, you touched on the search engine optimization that comes with an enhanced Google Business
Yeah.
Profile. And just before we wrap up on this, there's also a lot of benefit for mobile users. So more and
Mm,
more, we're starting to make purchasing decisions on our phones.
mm,
So it's really good because it's optimized for mobile. So there'll be a click to call button and I can just call you up straight away. Um, or a book now button. There'll be a
yeah.
directions button so that
Yeah.
they can just get in their car and go to your business. So it's hugely powerful from a mobile point of view,
Good point.
and
Really good
definitely
point, Regan.
worth optimizing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, we got to keep going because we're going to run out of time. So what's your number two favorite?
Yeah, so this is another free marketing avenue that you can pursue where the only investment is your time. This is around creating content. And again, in the interest of saving time and being really mindful about how we're investing in our businesses, you want to be creating content that is highly valuable to your users, but also multi-purpose. It can be syndicated across various platforms. So a great idea would be to write a blog for your website, display it on other platforms, share it through partnerships or features with regional tourism offices, send it out in an excerpt in a newsletter going out to your contacts, or use it to create social media posts. So you could have text-based social media posts, or you could have images with captions that take excerpts from the blog. So this is a really good way of creating rich content that's good for your audience, informative, helps to boost SEO on your website. So it has these myriad of side effects, and also can be used in various platforms. Another great way to make content is through video creation. So creating ideally short form videos, because none of us have an attention span anymore. So thanks to everybody who's hanging in there with this webinar. I really appreciate it. Having short, easy to consume videos that can be used across platforms is really good as well. And ideally you want to be creating content for your website that will help boost SEO and help you appear in search results. So these are things like FAQs, frequently asked questions that often users looking to make a decision about your business or make a booking, plan their trip, information that they really want to see. So by having an accordion or a list of FAQs on your website, or having other rich text information on your website that can help your website appear in search results. And that helps with Google's new AI overview feature.
I'm so glad you just said that, because I was just going to go. And besides FAQs, listas. So I've just been in the United States for 4 months working remotely. And so I have had the absolute joy of using Google's new AI search engine. So in New Zealand, we still have the traditional search engine, but in North America, when you open Google, it's called Google Insights, and it's overview. And when you ask a question, instead of just having a list of either paid ads or organic websites listed, it answers your question. Okay, so it's absolutely fabulous. And what it does is it's every kind of content. So if I type in what are the 5 must-do things to do in Taupo, that is the perfect piece of content for you to create for your website if you're in Taupo. And it's either a blog or it's even a video. And it won't just list your website. It will actually take your content that you've written, give me it as the answer, and then below it's the link to your website. So it takes words. It might be a video. It might decide that the best answer is a video, and it shows different options. I can choose to watch a video, or I can choose, and it is absolutely, it's quick, it's exciting. Unfortunately, it does take more energy and power it takes 10 times more power to do a Google overview search result than a regular one. So they need to look into how they handle that. But if you're after the North American market, if you're after the American Canadian market, it's all about content, so you can get on that Google overview. That's me interrupting you with my number one.
That's great to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
and
let's hear your last one, because we're
Yep.
running out of time. Sorry.
Yeah, just to wrap up, I'd like to mention Google Ads.
Mhm.
If you want to attract more customers and grow your business, Google Ads is a really great platform for you to use. In terms of driving revenue, which is what we really want to do, we want to be creating bookings. If choosing between paid social and Google Ads, we would recommend using Google Ads. Now, you only have so much marketing budget, so it's really important that you are channeling it towards a platform that's going to provide you with a good return on investment. And the reason we recommend Google Ads above paid social, which is another popular paid digital marketing platform, is because when people are searching on Google or other search engines for keywords related to their holiday or travel, they're already in market to purchase. So they're investigating, they're looking to learn about where they want to go, what type of costs are involved, how they can make it happen for them and their families. So they're ready to book basically, or they're
Mm.
much further along on their customer journey than somebody who is being served an ad on social media. They're just on social media. They're not shopping. They're just browsing the internet. So they're not in that mindset. They're not in market to be making a purchase. That's not to say they won't make a purchase. And speaking from
Yeah,
experience, they will. But it's not as much of a sure thing as using a search-based paid ad like
So
Google Ads.
we say that social media marketing is inspirational marketing and Google Ads are intentional marketing, right? So first
Totally.
stage of travel, dream stage. If you want to spark dream stage, that's inspiration, that's social media. Second stage of travel, research and planning, that's intentional, that's Google. And then third stage is book, which is what this is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So we believe that by partnering your enhanced Google Business profile with some really solid content creation and Google Ads as your paid strategy, along with, importantly, an optimized and easy to use website, this is a great strategy for marketing success in the tourism industry. You do want to make sure that when you're putting out marketing into the world, that it is directing users back to your website and that your website is a really great place to be.
Mm.
So we'll just finish with that. We also have, if you're interested in learning more about any of these or other digital marketing concepts, how you can promote and grow your business, we do have our brand new business development manager, Ruby, who you are going to
Yay!
love if you haven't already met him. And he can give you a free 30-minute marketing consult, which is a great way to explore these options and the needs of your individual business.
Nice. I love that you introduced Roubaix. Okay, we are going to be wrapping up very shortly. As I said in the beginning of the webinar, you're going to get two takeaways. Well, first of all, you're going to get the recording. Um, but Regan and the team put together this digital marketing checklist. And as you can see, it's broken into the basics that you can do. And then if you want to build more awareness online and drive bookings, there's all sorts of other options you can look at. And you can just tick away. I'm kind of going quickly because we are running out of time. Now, we did have a question that came in prior to the webinar because we encourage all of you to send your questions prior because then we can give it really good thought. And that was from a ResBook customer that said that they feel that they're not getting the same results from Facebook and that maybe Facebook is on the down low as a trend. And what other platforms and advice would we give? And it's always going to come back to the audience and the objective, isn't it, Regan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if it really depends on who your audience is that you're trying to target, their demographics, you know, how old are they? What's their special interests? So understanding who you're trying to target, and then what's your objective? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to get more people to just learn about your business and inspire them, first stage of travel? Or are you just flat out trying to drive bookings? Most people usually say the latter. I'm just trying to drive bookings. But what you have to remember is you do need to take people on a journey, right? You can't walk up to a stranger on the street and say, will you marry me? You got to ask them out. You got to court them, you know? So it's all about who's your audience and what are you trying to achieve. And is Facebook on the downtrend? No, not with many audiences. No. What the trend is that Facebook is becoming more informational. So if you want to share a blog, if you want to share information, where, for example, Instagram is very dreamy, and TikTok is very entertaining. So the long answer is it depends on your audience and your objectives. Yeah. And hopefully after listening to this, you've also discovered some other platforms that you might want to choose, right? Now, any other questions that come through, we will answer them in our follow-up. What we do want to do is give a plug for our third and last webinar in this series. And as you already had a glimpse, it is time-saving tips for the tourism pro. And that is going to be presented by our illustrious general manager, Renee Goodsall. Hopefully many of you know who she is. And she's going to be sharing some amazing tips on how you can save time, because we understand what you're doing every day. And maybe not everything, but there's some common things that we're all trying to do in our day, from answering emails, from taking care of bookings, to all sorts. And we've got some tips to share. And the last thing before we go is that we are introducing our Tourism Business Bootcamp. So you're kind of getting a taste from these webinars, actually what's going to be in the boot camp. So the boot camp is Monday to Friday, 5 days, and from 12 to 1:30, so an hour and a half, 5 days in a row. And it's just really a boot camp on how you can boost your business with digital marketing and all sorts of other ideas too. So we'll just introduce that to you. And I think we kept to our time. So without further ado, Regan, thank you very, very much for your time and for sharing all of your expertise. And hopefully there's some value in what we shared today for the people who have been watching, or for those people who are going to watch the webinar recorded later. And yeah, hopefully everybody can join us at the next one. Thank you very much. Kia ora, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.